The Sunrise and the Reaping movie is coming out on November 20, 2026, and exactly a year before its release, Lionsgate released its first teaser. In this video, I'll be doing two things: an analysis of this trailer and sharing a quick new casting update for this upcoming film. Before getting into it though, there may be spoilers in this video because I'm going to talk about this movie in the lens of a book reader. And with that, let's get started. First, let's start with the teaser. It starts with one of the first scenes we got in the book, the Reaping Day, or the event that takes place every year on July 4th to formally start the Hunger Games. A random side note, but we also learn in this book that July 4 is also Haymitch's birthday, which is why this day is even more painful for him. This event picks one male and one female tribute from each district, but this specific Hunger Games is different. The Sunrise and the Reaping narrates the 50th Hunger Games, or the second quarter quell. And every time it's a quarter quell, the capital does something different to make the games more grand. In the 50th Hunger Games, they included twice as many tributes in the arena, meaning 2 boys and 2 girls were to be reaped in every district, and this is what's happening right now. The scene in front of us is located in the Justice Hall of District 12, and we see the capital symbol right here. We also get an interesting variation that we've never seen before for the Peacekeepers. In the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, we see the Peacekeepers with this hat, blue uniform, and rifle. And this took place around 40 years before the Sunrise on the Reaping. In the original trilogy, which takes place 24 years after the Sunrise on the Reaping, the Peacekeepers look more futuristic, with a white suit, helmet, and gun. In between the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes and the original trilogy, the Sunrise and the Reaping seem to show a modern, yet not too futuristic design of the Peacekeepers' uniform. They had the same bucket hat from 40 years ago, but they also covered their faces more, just like the helmet seen in the original trilogy. From this, we get our first look of Drusilla Sickle, the escort for District 12. Drusilla is played by Glenn Close, and she looks really book accurate. The book described her in a very funny yet specific manner, and I'll just read the excerpt to you guys. It's hard to tell because she has a line of what looks like fancy thumbtacks encircling her face, pulling her skin back and pinning it in place. As for clothes, she clearly struggled to incorporate 2 fashion trends, military and sassy, and the result is her current outfit, a lemon yellow officer's jacket with matching thigh-high boots and a tall hat with a visor brim. Feathers fan out from the top of the hat, making her look like a deranged daffodil. No one laughs though, because here, she's the face of evil. This actually cracked me up when I first read the book, because the outfit is so ridiculous, and that's entirely the point. This got translated into this outfit in the movie, and they got it perfectly. From the yellow outfit, and even to the feathers of this bird headdress, it's a pretty good version of what the books described. When we see a closer shot of Drusilla, we actually see the thumbtacks described right here in the temples, and it's so cool. After the scene, we see our first shot of the Hunger Games arena, and it's already so book accurate. In the book, the arena was described as a place situated in beautiful mountains and greenery, which is exactly what we see right here. And then it shifts to this shot of the cornucopia, and it looks incredible. We see the many tributes ready to charge, and I found these colors right here pretty interesting. Actually, the trailer itself is pretty colorful, and it's not really something I pictured when reading the book, until I realized that a lot of fans are theorizing that this movie is taking up a 70s to 80s theme, just like how the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes took up a more 1940s theme. I didn't expect this at all, but I honestly really like it, because it shows the different time periods in Panem. As the camera pans around the arena, we got to see a good majority of the tributes, and let's go through them. This girl over here is Lulu, or an unnamed District 11 girl who replaced the District 12 tribute Luella McCoy. Luella died during the chariot scene of the tributes earlier in the book, but the Capitol completely covered it up by using a completely different yet similar looking kid whom Haymitch named Lulu to differentiate the 2 girls. To show this in the movie, Luella and Lulu were played by 2 actresses. Luella is played by Molly McCann, while Lulu will be portrayed by Iona Bell. As you can see, they are 2 different people, but at the same time, they look eerily similar, so I'm really excited to see this in the movie. Next to Lulu is a guy I didn't quite recognize, but I heard that he's actually Salimo Thyme, or the actor who plays Clayton, or one of the male tributes from District 1. We then get a glimpse of Ampert Ladier. Ampert is actually Beatty Ladier's son, and he was specifically raped for this year's Hunger Games as a cruel punishment to his father. This because Beatty tried to break the Capitol's communication system and got caught. and now Beatty is forced to watch Ampert die on screen. In this shot of Ampert, we see him nod to Haymitch Abernathy, the main character in this book. Haymitch and Ampert seem to be in some kind of mutual agreement with one another, and this because of a plan Beatty had devised to Haymitch in the book. Beatty and Haymitch agreed to destroy the arena from within to end the games, and Haymitch teamed up with Ampert to complete the job with a bunch of other tributes known as the Newcomers. As the camera continues on Haymitch, the camera closes in to do a pretty creative countdown. The countdown goes on in the next shot, and it's some great editing. It incorporates a lot of bright colors for the 70s to 80s theme, and it really complements the arena that was said to look incredibly beautiful. It also gives an enticing and even inviting Hunger Games despite the tragedy that is about to happen, which is exactly how it affected the tributes as well. Moving on from this, we see Jaleel Swaby as Panache Barker, one of the strongest tributes from District 1. After this, we see our first look at McKenna Grace as Maysilee Donner, or one of the District 12 girls who actually becomes really close with Haymitch, to the point that they considered each other as brother and sister. Aside from this, we get this shot of gorgeous flowers, and this is exactly like the ones described in the book. The arena itself was a trap for the tributes, as the mountains, the skies, and the flowers all looked so beautiful, yet they were all alive to slowly kill the tributes. Interestingly, on the number 8 here, we see two people, and it's actually Haymitch and his girlfriend Lenore Dove looking up, and we actually see a better shot of this later on in the trailer. The next part shows another beautiful angle of the arena before a quick look at Silka Sharp played by Laura Marcus. Silka was a tribute from District 1, and one thing you gotta remember about her is that she's pretty deadly. She plays second out of 48 tributes, so I'm pretty excited about her character here. After Silka, we get our first look into Wyatt Callow, one of the District 12 tributes played by Ben Wong, before seeing this look of a scene with Haymitch and Lulu. There's a bunch of flowers here, and we all know that these flowers would be Lulu's downfall, as in the book, she excitedly buried her face into a flower to smell it, but like a lot of things in this beautiful arena, it was poisonous. Interestingly, we also see Lulu in the number 4, but honestly, I'm not really sure if it's Lulu or the real Luella McCoy. Like, I don't know, I really have a hard time differentiating the two of them, so let me know in the comments on what do you guys think. But anyway, we see another scene of Maysilee and Haymitch with an interesting image in the number 3. If you look closely, you can see people doing the iconic 3-finger salute, which was a huge part of the trilogy to signal the rebellion. The trailer then leads up to an epic moment. The tributes run to the cornucopia, and we see Haymitch run forward immediately. There's a few people around him here, and this girl over here is Silka. The guy to the right is Panache, and Panache absolutely knocks Haymitch down. This moment may be small now, but it does add up in the book, because Panache was one of the strongest tributes, so it's really accurate for Panache to just knock Haymitch down here. And then, we get our first ever shot of Coriolanus Snow, played by Ralph Fiennes. Like the Snow we see in the trilogy, we see him with his signature white rose, and he looks incredible. Ralph is a great actor, and I'm honestly so excited to see him as Snow. We then see quick shots of already heartbreaking scenes as we see Ampert and Haymitch. If you've read the book, then you already know what happens. And honestly, I already felt sad just seeing how close Haymitch and Ampert are in this trailer. Ampert even seems to be crying in this shot as Haymitch hugs him, and it just breaks my heart already. I can't imagine how I would feel when this movie comes out. After seeing a shot of Haymitch wandering around the meadow to start Beatty's plan, we see a younger version of Plutarch Heavensbee, played by Jesse Plemons. Plutarch is one of the most important characters in the trilogy, as he was part of the rebellion against the capital, and we met him as well in The Sunrise and the Reaping doing the same thing. Philip Seymour Hoffman was the actor who played Plutarch in the original movies, and he did a really good job, which is why Jesse Plemons has some big shoes to fill in this movie, but I'm sure he'll do great as well. And then, we see even more heartbreaking shots through Lenore Dove, and right behind her are the geese she took care of in the book. Haymitch walks over to her as she plays an accordion piano, which is actually the instrument she can also play like in the book, because she's part of the Cubby, or a group of nomads who were rounded up into District 12. We then see this nice shot of Lenore and Haymitch, and as book readers, we know how tragic their ending is, so this scene really is the calm before the storm. We then get one of my most favorite shots in this trailer. Haymitch takes out the Flint Striker, which is actually the symbol of the book and the movie. The Flint Striker was given to him by Lenore for his 16th birthday, and it looks exactly like I imagined. It can be used to make a fire, which we actually see in the next quick shots. Immediately after the scene with Lenore, we see Haymitch with his brother Sid, and Sid looks so cute here. Like, I don't think I can bring myself to watch Sid's death later, and honestly, rewatching Snow's death scene in Mockingjay feels even more satisfying right now. But going back, we see Haymitch also use the flint striker with Lulu in the flower scene I mentioned earlier. If you look closely, Lulu actually has blood over here in her face, and this might be because of the cornucopia fight scene. We know that Wyatt sacrificed himself to save Lulu, and as morbid as it sounds, this may be his blood that splattered on her. But anyway, after this, we see another first look of another major character, Effie Trinket. Effie is played by Elle Fanning, which is actually the most requested casting from fans, and I still find it funny that Lionsgate actually listened to us. But going back, Effie appears here in The Sunrise and the Reaping because she needed to help her sister, Proserpina Trinket, who was part of District 12's prep team. We then see Haymitch and Maysilee walk together before shifting to this scene with Haymitch and someone with an axe. His opponent is actually Silka, as she was known to wield an axe in the book, which would also explain why we see her running forward in the next shot. Interestingly, Haymitch is holding his stomach over here, and it might be a small detail, but it revealed a lot. It dawned on me that this must be one of the last moments of the games. Silka had greatly wounded Haymitch on the stomach, to the point that Haymitch had to hold the stomach to keep his guts intact, and this must be the scene. The next shot shows Haymitch in this tunnel area, and it's actually the passageway to go underneath the arena that Plutarch had told them about. This is to further execute Beatty's plan of destroying the arena with Ampert. We then see a scene of Panache and Haymitch fighting, which is actually a scene that also happened in the book. Speaking of fight scenes, we also see this moment of Haymitch fighting for his life again. But I can't really see who is he fighting, so I'm not really sure what this scene specifically is in the book. But after this, we get a devastating shot. We see Haymitch being pulled back in front of a burning house, and this is the scene that greeted Haymitch when he went back home. Snow had burned down his house, with his mother and brother inside, in punishment for the rebellion Haymitch did in his Hunger Games, and we see two people pulling Haymitch back. This one over here is Murdoch Everdeen, or Haymitch's best friend played by Scott Greenan, and this girl over here is Astrid March Everdeen, or Murdoch's girlfriend who was played by Grace Ackery. Murdoch and Astrid would go on to be Katniss and Prim's parents in the future, and seeing them together with Haymitch in this moment just gave me chills. Haymitch was absolutely devastated from this scene, which we see in the next shot wherein he just screams in anguish. Actually, analyzing it more, this scene might not be in response to the burning house, because in this shot, Haymitch is still in his Hunger Games attire. Looking closely over here though, we see him hold on to a similar looking Hunger Games attire, and it dawned on me that this might be Ampert's clothes, so this must be Ampert's death scene, which would explain why Haymitch looks so devastated. Ampert in the book was killed by squirrels who literally ate him alive and left a skeleton. And these clothes over here might be what was left of Ampert. And I know, this book is so brutal. I honestly have to brace myself before going to the theater next year. One of the last shots we get of this teaser is a scene with a volcano, which is also in the book, and we see Haymitch look worried as Woody Harrelson, or the original Haymitch actor from the trilogy, says his iconic line,
"I think these games are gonna be different."
It's a perfect shot before we see the title card, and that's how the trailer ends. It's an amazing view of the movie so far, and now let's go to some recent news on the cast. Just recently, it's revealed that Jennifer Lawrence and Josh Hutcherson are coming back to the Hunger Games franchise, and it's a huge news to all of us. We already got a hint of this through casting rumors that I went over in my video a few months ago, but this is the confirmation that we've all been waiting for. Jennifer and Josh play Katniss and Peeta respectively, and they're coming back to reprise these roles for the epilogue of The Sunrise on the Reaping. This epilogue is set after the events of the last book of the Hunger Games trilogy, or Mockingjay. Here, we see Haymitch, Katniss, and Peeta gathering together as Haymitch finally reveals his story during his Hunger Games. This was a huge moment for Haymitch as he never told anyone the full story, and revealing it to Katniss and Peeta was such a sweet moment in the book. Alongside this, Peeta had made Haymitch a cake, and Katniss helped Haymitch take care of geese. And yes, geese. Just like what Lenore Dove used to do, which we saw in the trailer as well. Alongside Jennifer and Josh, we're still not sure if Woody Harrelson will come back as Haymitch, as there has been no mention of it from Lionsgate so far. However, we did hear Woody already on the trailer, so there's a big possibility that Woody, Jennifer, and Josh would come together one last time to film this last scene. And if they do, I feel like this epilogue will be one of the best scenes we'll ever get on screen, because this is the moment that ties the entire series to the sunrise on the reaping, and I'm even more excited for this upcoming movie. And that's all I have for you guys today. So how about you? What do you think of all these updates? Let me know in the comments down below.